Hey guys, it's Geoff Keighley from GT. I'm here at our headquarters in LA as we count down to the Xbox, a new generation revealed press conference. One thing I think we should talk about right now is what to expect from this Xbox announcement. And there have been so many rumors about this platform, and understandably so, since when you think about it, like, Project Natal or Xbox 360, a lot of these other platforms, in the past, game companies have talked about them sometimes, 16, 18 months before they came out. I remember the first demos of Xbox 360 was, I think, Jay Allard on stage at GDC where they had this car crash demo and they were just talking about the technology. And this year, if the rumors are right, we're going to see this platform announced potentially only 5-6 months before it launches, which is something we've never really seen before. So my hope is that there's going to be a lot more to share than in the past when you just see a tech demo or talk about vision. Hopefully we're going to be able to actually see some stuff actually working and understand what is real about this platform. So that's one thing that I think people haven't always thought about, is that because this announcement is potentially is going to be a very compressed amount of time between when they announce and when they ship this, hopefully there's going to be a lot to share that's real and not just tech demos. Now, one of the big questions that I often get asked by a lot of people is, well, how much is this going to be about games? How much is this going to be about entertainment? A lot of people reference Major Nelson's post where he talked about, we're going to show you the future of games and entertainment and television. And I think that's a good question. But, I also feel like we all consume entertainment too. And I think, speaking personally as someone who's involved in Spike and GT, like our Xbox Live app, a lot of people have downloaded it and are loving consuming content on their Xbox. The numbers don't lie. A lot of you guys seem to like that. So I think there is definitely a story there about entertainment and sort of the idea of Xbox being broader than just a hardcore game machine. A lot of people, they use Netflix, they use Hulu, they use apps on the platform. And my hope is that that whole experience will get better with the next system. So hopefully, it'll be additive and that there'll be entertainment, but it's not going to get in the way of games. And I think the biggest concern a lot of people have is like, well, if Xbox is going to do all this entertainment stuff, does that mean then they're going to make less games? And certainly their first-party games division has not put out as many games as Sony in the past. And I think there's a lot of questions about, so what is the first-party games group going to do for those exclusives? They just shipped a Halo, they just shipped a Gears of War, so what are they going to have to talk about on the games side? But I do think that it's nice that there's hopefully going to be a balance between games and entertainment. And for our industry, where it's at right now, honestly, we need that because, we all know sales are down in the business. It's harder to make big blockbuster hits. And if Xbox is able to sort of expand or broaden its reach, that's going to help the headlines about our industry and make it a reality that the industry is healthy and it's growing. And much like, Nintendo with Wii Sports, they appealed to a wider audience that bought that. All boats rise, because in some ways that will help us get more games, and publishers will invest more in games if there's a bigger installed base of the platform. And I think what seems like Microsoft is saying is, hey, entertainment, TV, that's a part of what we see as our ecosystem moving forward. It's not just video games. So, how interactive is television? How interactive is entertainment? We'll have to see those answers, but I'm actually excited about the idea of a platform that can sort of bring all that together, because based on the stats even we're seeing from our GT app, people absolutely do want to consume entertainment on that platform. But, the other question I think a lot of people wonder about is, how are games going to change in the next generation? Leading into the Sony announcement back in February, I think there was a lot of excitement about sort of, oh my God, how are we going to be blown away by games in the next generation? And now I think, we've seen a lot of PS4 games. We've seen certainly some next-gen games, like a Battlefield 4, which was running on PC. And stuff looks great. But I think the big question is, are we going to see games at this Xbox event that are going to absolutely blow us away? We'll have to see. I mean, developers, I think, have said sort of on and off the record that, both the new Xbox and the new PlayStation are similar to PC. So I think we're going to see games that are going to be similarly powered across all these systems. The real question will be, what's going to be new or different about the experience kind of around these games? And that's what I think we don't know a lot about right now is Xbox Live. How is that going to change? How is the whole Xbox user interface going to be different? at least when I'm taping this, there haven't been a lot of leaks about that and how that's going to work. So I'm really curious to see how Xbox kind of continues along that track of entertainment, along that track of sort of user interface, and even the idea of kind of, you know, switching between games and apps, and how is that going to work? There's some rumors I think I read on The Verge about being able to move very quickly between things, and right now if you want to go from the GT app to Call of Duty, that's what, it's like 10 button presses of like exiting out the menu, moving over to the apps tab, browsing apps, opening GameTrailers. Imagine if that's more like, you know, flicking channels or something. And I mean, hopefully it's similar to that, like an iPad where you can move between things. So if that starts to happen, I think a lot of it will be about the sort of the user interface around the games, and we'll see. But you know, nothing will replace great games, and I think that's something that some gamers are worried about. There's talk about this always online controversy. Will the system require an internet connection for any gaming? I think a lot of that is rumors and speculation. There's also the rumors about, you know, will it block used games? And I think one thing that gamers sometimes forget is that this is all software. It's just a toggle or a switch. So, you know, I don't know honestly what Microsoft's decision is on that, or what's possible. I mean, anyone can do that today if they want. They could make Xbox 360 games always online if they wanted to. Or they can change that, or they can let publishers decide what they want to do. But it'll be interesting to see at this event how Microsoft describes their philosophy. Are they going to put a stake in the ground and say, hey, no, we're changing kind of, you know, how we approach games, how we approach online in a big way? Or are they going to say, hey, you know, there's a movement in this direction, but we're also going to keep satisfying that core audience that, you know, likes to play single-player games not connected to the internet? We'll see. I mean, Microsoft has gone both ways. They've, you know, something like Kinect, I think initially they sort of talked about that being for core games, and I think people ultimately realized, like, maybe it's good for voice commands, but I don't see many people, you know, pulling their guns apart like in, what was that, in Ghost Recon or something like that at E3. So I don't think that worked. But they've also made big bets, like with the original Xbox, where they bet on saying, hey, you know, it's going to be broadband only. And that was a big controversial thing, because a lot of people said, well, what about all the dial-up people? And they said, no, it's like, we are going to bet on broadband, you're going to hook your broadband into this, and that's how you want to play multiplayer. And that turned out to be a great bet. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of where Xbox goes with this, because I think this platform is, you know, there's this interesting intersection now between games and entertainment and online, and, you know, Microsoft is battling against Sony and Nintendo to some degree, but I think they're looking at, you know, Don Matrick said it publicly before, looking at Apple and Google and companies like that, and how are they going to play in this sort of connected entertainment space. So there's a much bigger sort of battle about to be waged, and I think Microsoft is thinking a lot about that. So I'll be very curious to see what they have to say on May 21st about the platform. Hopefully there'll be a bunch of surprises, and we'll see a lot of games. And I think a lot of you watching this, I know, just want to be inspired by new IP, new games that capture our attention. We talked about that on the bonus round a few weeks ago with David Jaffe about just, you know, being inspired by where games are going. All right, well, I've talked enough. The Xbox press conference is coming up live right here on GT on Tuesday, May the 21st. Our coverage begins at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. See you guys then.